Hello, Jewell family. This is Elizabeth McLeod-Walls, and this is the second Friday update during this COVID moment. As I said last time, I hope to provide you with an update every Friday as we're in this time and share information about what we're doing on the Hill and especially what we're doing to help one another during this moment. So some updates about what's going on the Hill. Well, first and foremost, we are offering virtual tours to prospective students, virtual opportunities to connect with our counselors. Now, if you happen to be the parent of a 17 or 18-year-old, you might be experiencing with this young person in your home a good deal of antsiness and boredom. I happen to have one of these humans living with me. This is Alec Walls, a junior at Liberty North High School, and I have told Alec, who by the way would be mortified if he saw that I was doing this right now, that he needs to make 3 virtual tours of 3 college campuses in the next 3 weeks, one of which will be William Jewell. So I would encourage you to utilize this moment to have your 17 or 18-year-old engage in virtual tours, certainly to engage with a virtual tour at William Jewell. I want to share with you what our Board of Trustees has been doing over the last several weeks. So our board is comprised of remarkable leaders and thinkers from the Kansas City area and beyond. And they've been meeting virtually every Friday for several weeks now to provide focused leadership during this time. But they also have been having their regular meetings, one of which was this past Monday. And our board very much has its eyes on the horizon, looking toward the future for William Jewell and enacting strategy that is vital for that future. And so this past Monday when we had a meeting, the board voted on some significant initiatives that will be coming to fruition relatively soon. I can't talk about them quite yet, but they're on their way. And they're all about strategically positioning William Jewell College for the future. We're so fortunate to have this body, this group of leaders that is guiding the institution now, not just in a tactical way as we're managing COVID, but quite specifically in a strategic way, thinking about the future of the institution. And in thinking about the future, we also are anticipating that the COVID virus is going to be with us for a while. And by that I mean the pandemic eventually will pass, but this virus will become part of the human experience. And when we're thinking about that and we're thinking about protecting our faculty, staff, and students in the future, particularly when we come back from virtual learning to an in-person experience on our campus, we want our campus to be as safe and as accessible as possible, even if COVID crops back up in the late fall semester or the early spring semester of next year. And so we are partnering with MRI Global here in Kansas City. MRI Global is a remarkable research institution that supports the federal government and other agencies in containing outbreaks around the world. And they do all kinds of other important biological research. And they're here in our backyard. And so we're partnering with MRI Global to do a complete assessment of our campus's readiness to be able to respond if we get a COVID case on this campus within the next 6 to 9 months. And that response is not just from the policy level, although they will be looking at that, but also how do we contain a COVID case very quickly on our campus if it comes up. And so we're ecstatic to be able to partner with this incredible organization here in Kansas City as we anticipate our future. Okay, last week I promised you that I would provide you with a faculty update, a classroom update, and I will, but this week I'm also going to start providing you with a student update. So let's start with the students. So this is Carmen Stevenson. She is a junior education major here at Jewell, and if you know Carmen, you know that she brings light and joy to everyone with whom she interacts. And I just asked Carmen how she was doing, what she was up to, and she said, yes, sure, we're using Zoom in the classroom and other virtual ways to learn, and our faculty are showing care and concern for us all the time. But she said that they're also using technology to keep connected as students. So she was saying that Zeta has hosted Zoom, Zumba, and yoga sessions that have been a lot of fun. And her friends and she have hosted FaceTime meetings, and they've had online apps to update each other and to have virtual game nights. And so they're having fun, they're staying connected, and engaging in self-care, which is fabulous. Our faculty and classroom spotlight this week comes from Dr. Blaine Baker, who's a professor of physics and mathematics here at William Jewell, and unsurprisingly, Dr. Baker has found ways for his students to continue to have hands-on experiences even though they're not meeting in person. So for example, with his introductory physics lab, the students were given optics kits before we went virtual because we knew that this was coming, right? And so these optics kits allow students to use household items like tape measures and cardboard along with these optics themselves, of course, to make small screens that they can use to magnify things and to see images through. And these optical devices provide a hands-on demonstration for students as we study these same topics in class. And in the electronics lab, students are using online simulators to build digital circuits such as counters, adders, and memory systems. As an English PhD, that doesn't actually mean anything to me, but I do have to say that he goes on to say that this is actually even more than students have been able to do in the classroom because they can spend more time and they can actually utilize materials that they have on hand, and so the learning goes even deeper. That is the definition of critical thinking, and I wish that I was in one of Dr. Baker's classes right now. Okay, how are we helping each other right now? I gave you a teaser last week. I talked a little bit about this new initiative that we're putting out for professional development for people who want to be enriched right now. They want to be exposed to meaningful content. Perhaps they're on administrative leave or they've lost their jobs. Perhaps it's just folks who are ready to learn something new in social isolation. But we want to do this for our community for free. So Connor Hazelrig, who is our Director of Community Partnerships, has put micro courses together very quickly. And they're available now, which is so exciting. So if you go to epic-thinking.com, you'll learn a lot about this initiative that we're trying to get off the ground, and we're not quite ready to launch it officially yet, but it'll give you a sneak peek into what we're trying to do. And these micro courses are quite timely. Learning to have a creative mind, leading during times of uncertainty. They're free, they're short, they're meaningful, and I hope that you'll have a chance to check them out, epic-thinking.com. Our Alumni Board of Governors, led by Bert Stauffer, is supporting an initiative to fund an emergency relief fund for our students. So this is for prospective students and current students. We're listening very carefully, and we're hearing that both prospective students and current students' family circumstances have changed or are changing, and we do not want college to be a burden for our students. We don't want any barriers, particularly financial ones, for students to be able to attend William Jewell College. And so establishing this emergency relief fund that allows us to give potentially millions of dollars in additional aid to prospective and current students to be able to attend Jewell, to be able to stay at Jewell. And in addition to that, of course, the college has incurred other expenses related to the COVID moment, including refunding all of our housing and meal costs, which of course is the right thing to do and what we would do. But we appreciate that the alumni are coming alongside us to support this emergency relief fund, and check it out. We'd love for you to be a part of that and to accept Bert's invitation. A really neat story from our internal campus community. So we have an international student who could not go home, but he also got stuck off campus and couldn't come back to campus. Because he's an international student, we could not extend his work-study funds to him. That is only available to American citizens, and so he really was without options in terms of having income and in terms of being able to come to campus. And so he worked with Dr. Gary Armstrong, who is his advisor, and Dr. Armstrong was on it. He reached out to everyone on campus that he possibly could, and almost right away, people stepped forward with ways to help this student and to bridge him to the time that he can come back. And our Director of Library Services, Rebecca Hamlet, reached out and said that she could give this student 20 hours a week working virtually in the library, not as a work-study student, but just as a worker in the library, and she was able to find the budget dollars to do that, and that is what that student is doing right now, and he's incredibly grateful. As he's expressed to us, he would not probably have been able to figure anything out if he didn't have this income that has provided him with food security and a way to do well, to be able to bridge until he's back here on campus. And so I'm really impressed with our colleagues who are able to help this student and so many of our students during this challenging moment. And I'll leave you with two more things. One is a story from an alumna, Dee Dee Barnes-Bruns, who is down in Birmingham, Alabama. And Dee Dee is part of a sewing group that has 5,000 members nationwide, with 550 active sewers in her area that have created more than 10,000 masks for medical workers in need. And Dee Dee's been posting about this on Facebook and social media, and she caught my attention. And Dee Dee is one of the most thoughtful and generous people that I've had the chance to know, and it doesn't surprise me at all that she is out there sewing masks for people who need them. And if you want to learn more about that, absolutely go check it out, because it is an initiative that requires even more support in order for it to be successful. And the last thing that I'll share is, as I mentioned last week, my husband, Craig McLeod Walls, is offering a devotional starting this Sunday evening, which is Palm Sunday in the Christian tradition, just to give folks a chance to pause, reflect, and to have some spiritual engagement in these challenging times. And so I hope that you will check that out on Sunday evening and subsequent Sunday evenings as we reflect together during the COVID moment. So Cardinals flock together, and we're going to continue to work together, to be together as a community of critical thinkers, to help one another and to problem solve right now during this moment. I am thinking of all of you, and I am grateful to several of you who sent me your stories, who reached out in the last week. Please continue to do that. It was really gratifying for me to be able to hear from so many of you, and I hope that you will continue to share your stories and to feel connected with your larger Jewell family. Until next Friday, Deo Physis Labora, my fellow Cardinals.